Corporations are capitalistic, they are going to fire. Nepotism can work in things like the government where ownership is not that high. But in corporations, add value, produce results, get revenue, make profits. If you are able to do that, make the company so dependent on you that outcome is all about what complexity are you solving. And are you solving things which are unknown to most of the people? When you are in control, no, you are not dependent on anyone to create results. And when humans collaborate, politics happens, negativity happens.
Since we are doing management tech, which is about the journey of a IC to a manager to a leader, what is that 20% difference in traits, skills, quality, etc.?
The first difference is ambition.
IC to manager.
At every layer. The first difference of any human, the only difference between two humans is ambition. Ambition is a precursor. If you don't have ambition, no, unfortunately, if someone is so happy being an IC, they don't have an ambition, they cannot work for being a manager. The challenge is being an IC, no, is the coolest thing on the planet because you are in control. When you are in control, no, what happens is that you are not dependent on anyone to create results. And that is a very different high.
Yeah.
Because immediate gratification happens. You work, you get results. You work, you get results.
No collaborations, nothing.
And when humans collaborate, politics happens. Negativity happens.
Variable changes.
Now, the thing is...
But if the guy is happy and he's the IC, he or she is the IC and they are happy, then great. The challenge is they are not happy, but they don't know if they want to become a manager.
See, overall, no, in my opinion, everyone is ambitious. Unfortunately, if you're an IC,
sure,
you want to be rich, you want to be famous, you want to be extremely wealthy, there are very few professions in the world that you can. Investing is one.
Sure.
As an IC, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is an individual contributor. He does not have a proper fund structure, but he has created huge wealth. He takes smaller decisions, invests 100 to 200 CR, makes a 10x and an individual contributor, and amassed large amount of wealth.
Right.
There are ICs like in OpenAI, the gentleman who's working and coding for AI is phenomenal. He will be paid amazing.
Right.
But 90% of ICs in the world will be average because you are paid according to the complexity that you solve.
Sure.
A lot of people ask me that if hardworking is important, then a housekeeper should be paid more than Ritesh Malik.
Agree.
Its outcome is always disproportionate. Outcome is all about what complexity are you solving, and are you solving things which are unknown to most of the people. A stock trader earns 10x of that of a doctor by working 1/5 of the time, taking way lesser pain as a doctor and not amassing so much education. World is unfair, and unfair advantage is another word I love. You get unfair advantage by creating extreme sense of ownership first for your work. This is also very interesting. A manager can never not be a great IC. In the retrospect, no, this cannot be. An IC cannot be a great manager.
But a manager has to be a great IC.
Because first you have to be empathetic to your team members. Now, from a manager's standpoint, it is all dependent on systems design. How do people come? What do they do? Where do they work? How do they get motivated? What kind of activities can I do to ensure that they feel better about their work environment and they create output? How do I create delegation structures? Majority managers fail at delegation because they cannot leave their IC.
The FOMO is very high.
FOMO is very high, plus IC is easy. IC is so easy, and I'll tell you, I was an individual contributor. I realized my personal work, I was amazing. And delegation, I sucked at delegation because I used to fear that this person will not be able to do work as well as mine. And then I realized if the person does 90% of my work as good as mine, and those 100 people can do my work, oh my God, the kind of skill is very different. If you want to be a manager, you have to create beautiful systems designs. You have to create dialogue structures. At least in our organization, for all our managers, we have a thesis of doing 3 things. The first one is create structures for your teams. Be in touch with them, do scrum meetings, ensure dialogue, be close to the customer, and lastly, spend at least 20% of your time in training of your team members and 10% of your time in training of yourself. If you are able to do that, produce results. Output is everything. In a corporation, it's a totally capitalistic structure. Nepotism, in my opinion, does not work. I just believe that nepotism long term will not work. If I do not have the trust in a person, whoever he or she might be, corporations are capitalistic, they are going to fire. Nepotism can work in things like the government where ownership is not that high. But in corporations, nepotism, finally, you have to produce results. As a manager, add value, produce results, get revenue, make profits. If you are able to do that, make the company so dependent on you that the company has to escalate you. The byproduct is escalation. The focus is increasing the goals of the company.